show is sponsored by HiveMind CRM. It is more than just a CRM. It is a real estate and business mastermind that comes with an all-in-one CRM. You can have unlimited websites and users. You can call, text, RVM, and email all in one user interface. And you can set up custom automations for any type and multiple businesses. 65% of companies start using a CRM system within the first 5 years of business. Once implemented, the HiveMind will save you on marketing, give you more time, and make more money. One of our users had his first $100,000 month using our system in June. We want to see you automate and accelerate your business. Text us at 210-972-1842 for future meetings, and of course to get our $1 course on how to make more than 6 figures on one land deal. You can schedule your free demo today at hivemindcrm.io.
Alrighty, everybody, welcome to the HiveMind podcast. My name is Frank Spalding. I'm going to be here today with Adrian Smude. Daniel is unfortunately out sick today and wasn't able to attend, so we're glad to be here with Adrian. He's a best-selling author and focuses heavily in on mobile homes. So, Adrian, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody today?
I appreciate you having me, Frank. I am in Central Florida, in between Tampa and Orlando. And I really started about 20 years ago as a terrible, terrible tenant. Like, you do not want to rent to 20-year-old Adrian. I mean, we had mud wrestling parties, spaghetti wrestling parties. I have all the eviction notices to prove all these parties, too. And my favorite one is for parking the motorcycle inside of the living room. And my friend's excuse was he didn't want to wait for it to warm up. It doesn't get cold enough for it to warm up. But anyways, but because I got evicted, we got evicted. It was all of us. That's why I bought a house. I had a family member's mortgage broker. If anyone remembers, 19 years ago, you signed paperwork and they handed you a house for actually less money than it cost to move in a rental. I bought the house, moved all my friends in that helped me get evicted, and then I understood what the landlord was going through. But I lived for free. Really cool. Got to live for free. So I said, all right, let's buy another house. And that one, I was losing a little bit every month because I had that adjustable rate mortgage. If anyone remembers those, and it was supposed to go down. Well, I bought at the top of the market. And as the value of the house went down, my rate actually went up. So I started losing more every month. I didn't understand why it was happening at the time. I still don't fully understand. But anyways, long story short there, I lost that house as a short sale. I tried to kind of keep going with it. It was embarrassing, dinged my ego. But that reminder came back when I started hearing about mobile homes. I was at REIA's. The seasoned investor that is usually there just because they love real estate. If they have hair, they have like the shiny silver hair. They talked about mobile homes. So I said, all right, let me try it. They've been in the business longer than I've been alive. And let me tell you, the cash flow is way better than a site built home. So since then, I have actually started to sell off all of my site built homes. Sold the last one this year. And I am primarily mobile homes with the dirt, and we rent them out. Long game, try to make the business as boring as possible.
Are you buying new mobile homes to do this with, or are you buying used mobile homes? Is there a certain year that you won't go beyond just because of parts, or how does that work?
I specialize in those really old ones. I have a lot of 1960s, 1970s. For me, a new one is 1997. That's the newest I've ever bought. I am in talks right now with a 1999. I didn't think I'd ever be buying one of those, or maybe in 10 years I'd finally be old enough to buy one. But I like the old ones because the cash flow is really good. And part of that is because investors don't like them. They don't understand them. They see them as too big of risk. So then it leaves less competition, and I can move in and buy them at a good price.
And what's a good price for let's your typical bread and butter?
Well, in Florida, I want a higher return because we have those hurricanes that seems like Californians have never heard of. And hurricanes take mobile homes and they throw them around. Well, I'm looking for 20 to 30% all in ROI. So my all in repairs, closing costs, purchase price, everything. If it's in the 60s or 70s the year, I'm looking for at least a 20% return on my investment because I have a high risk. We were talking a tiny bit before the show about like the moving them, vacant land and all that. People don't realize there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just, oh, trash that one and put another one on there, new or used. Everything's got to come up to code. I find it hard to believe getting a used 1990, even if you got it for free. I'm still looking at 25 or 30K just to get it there, to get everything up to code. And that's if I got the home for free. And I'm not going to get a home for free, not in this market. So I like those old ones. But today I have been trading up a little bit. Like I said, I'm looking at a 1999 right now. I'm not going to get that same return there. It's on an acre of land though. So I have that acre. I call that my lotto ticket. That a builder hopefully is going to come through one day in my time and say, I want to build a $750,000 house because this is in the path of progress where it's probably going to happen. If not, I cash flow until then. I have a stronger structure as a 1999. They use way better quality materials. So a good year to remember is June 15th, 1976. That is a year the federal government HUD basically said, you've got to build these with some type of quality. Not that it went up a lot, but I joke around they used to build them with toothpicks. I mean, they were really thin parts. It didn't go up a lot in 1976, but that is the year that there's an actual code to build them by. And you cannot get any bank financing behind that. It's tough to even get it that old. But that is an important year to remember.
So now you touched on something, financing. Are you doing this with your own money? Are you doing a lot of private money? Are there commercial lenders that specialize in older mobile homes for investors? Or is that something that's just not heard of if it's too old?
More towards the end there, not heard of. We use private money and owner financing. I am not scared to use my own cash. I don't know who made it popular to like they're allergic to using their own money. I like some free and clear properties and I like using my own cash because I get even more cash flow. But owner financing, these older ones, we're talking like the 60s, 70s. I've never done any in the 50s. I have some friends that buy it in the 50s. Those still have lights and license plates on them if you ever buy one in the 1950s. But that year, the owners know that they're not bank financeable. I mean, if it's an investor or if it's a homeowner, they already know it. There's no like, why don't you just go to a bank? That's the excuse I used to get with the site built world of trying to buy owner financing. I don't get that excuse. Now, I don't use the term financing. I like the term payments. It sounds easier, it sounds simpler. It doesn't imply interest. I like to start at 0% and let you work me up. So, and if you don't, you don't. But so owner financing is a lot of them. The one I'm working on right now, it is going to have to be a cash deal. So it's going to be private money, or I could use my own cash for it if I decide to. But because owner financing doesn't work for everyone.
Definitely. And where do you find these deals?
Networking is my biggest way. That is me. It fits my personality, but you could use any type of traditional marketing. Signs on the side of the road, letters, MLS, Google AdWords, Facebook marketing. The only thing you have to do is replace the word house with mobile home. All of it works. I've bought properties on almost every type of marketing, but the networking fits me the best. I go to REIAs, I stand up and say, I buy mobile homes. There's always someone that kind of looks at me funny afterwards. They come over and tell me, you're an idiot. Why would you buy them? They depreciate. They tell me all these negative things. And I reply, you're right. They're terrible investments. Give me all your leads. And they do. And I pay people for their leads. I try to keep everyone in, because if you get paid by me, you want to talk to me more.
Mhm,
And then
definitely.
realtors the other big one, because a older mobile home like that is going to sell for way less, probably a zero less on the end of the
Yeah.
number. The realtor does the same amount of work. You can argue more work with a mobile home. Well, why would they not want to get paid more for the same work? Realtors do want to help people, as much as investors try to give them a bad name. The good realtors want to help.
Mhm.
I became a resource just as information, and every once in a while it comes back to me. I am not licensed, but I have gone to the continuing education that they have to go to, because who's there? They're really serious uh, realtors. So the really serious ones, now I'm the new person in the room. They want to come talk to me, not me trying to go find them.
Yeah.
And then realtor after hours are always fun. They're not frugal like us investors. Like, they'll buy you food and drinks. Investors, we won't buy you anything. So yeah, networking is my way, but you have to do whatever works for your personality, I think. And you just tell people what you do, no matter what type of marketing it is. And you just say mobile homes.
There you go. So we were talking a little bit before we started off, and you said there's the three types of mobile homes, or kind of the perceptions. So what's your preferred? Are you just looking for the mobile home itself, mobile home and land? Are you going after parks themselves for the entire park? Where you're paying lot rent, or if you own the entire thing and you're charging lot rent. What's your bread and what's gravy? What's bread and butter for you?
So yeah, let's break those three down. You can buy the entire park, everything. So think of a flat apartment complex, or that's if you own all the homes, the dirt, everything. Or you can own, as a mobile home park, you can own just the dirt, and everyone that owns the home lives there, pays you lot rent. So in that instance, you essentially own a big parking lot. That sounds attractive to me. I've never bought a mobile home park. I've researched them. Honestly, I don't know if it fits into my life vision anymore. But mobile home parks are one way to invest in mobile homes. Then you can buy just the unit. So you do not own any dirt, and you pay the park owner, or the owner of the land, monthly to be able to park it there. Lot rent, we call it, or space rent. And then usually you have to put someone in it that's going to either buy it from you for more a month, or rent it from you for more a month. I've done a few of those. Those are really, really, really good ROI. Like, they should be over 50% ROI. That sounds amazing. Why wouldn't you do more? Well, when you're talking smaller numbers, that could be $150 a month, which, don't get me wrong, that is good money. When you're
Hmm.
starting out, especially, I mean, that they were super, super important for my growth phase and the momentum, the learning, and everything. I bought in low end parks, so I did not get the highest quality person living there. So I had a lot of turnover. I made more money because of it, but now where I'm at, I'm valuing time a little bit more than the cash flow. So I'm trading up, we call it.
Hmm.
Those are a great investment. I mean, I know very, very seasoned investors that always try to keep a few dozen of those. But what I do is right in the middle. It's a single unit mobile home with the dirt. So I own the home and the land together, and then I rent it out. So I get the dirt. Worst case, a hurricane, a tornado comes and wipes it out and turns into a hurricane missile. I still have some dirt. I put the money into it, or I sell it to someone that wants to put a brand new home on it. But I have something there. And a lot of times on those old ones that we mentioned, the value is in the dirt. And that's what I look at a lot too. So those are your three different types. I've just gravitated to that center one. I'm a very, very niched investor. I know people that can do everything. I can't do everything, I've learned. I'm not good at it. I got to stick to one really tight thing that works. And since then, I have branched a tiny bit. When I try to do everything, I fail.
Hmm. Yeah, as do a lot of investors. So yeah, I've looked at several pieces of land myself where I've actually started looking into starting a park.
Mm,
And And for the most part, there's a lot of counties in Florida that will allow it. You just have to be outside of any of the big city limits. Like Jacksonville, as long as you're outside of the 295 loop, it's pretty much doable. Several of the surrounding counties have got the ability to do that. It's just a matter of how much land is required per. So, and then getting into the septic of it all and such.
That's really good to hear, because I've heard differently around me in the Plant City Lakeland area that they really don't want the parks to be built. And I think they need to be built. That's affordable housing. That's a space we're in. And we know that that is needed so bad pretty much everywhere in this country. And I just have been a little frustrated. Like, no one's really doing anything about it. So that's great to hear. And so I'm not the mobile home park expert, like I said, but someone like you, that if you're going to go and do that and you know what you're doing, I would put money in it. That's how I diversify instead of going and learning a whole new thing. I know enough about the topic. I'm in the space, I research it. But to go and do every little piece is not my niche. But that is one way I diversify. I know we're getting a little off on, because people come back to me when I'm super niche and like, we're not diversified. Well, my diversification is investing in someone else that is good at the other niche. And that's how I diversify.
Yeah. Right now, my primary focus myself is land and storage facilities. But I've got partners, from the finance side of things, that have partners who are extremely experienced in assisted living facilities. So we're actually meeting tomorrow afternoon to finalize our offer for a parcel in Land O'Lakes that
Nice.
had been previously zoned and approved for an assisted living facility. And the property owner ran out of funds. And this is back 07, 08. So, apparently they'd somehow lined up HUD funds for it and got shut down because of, the obvious fiasco that happened at that point in time. And they're still sitting on it. So it's a matter of trying to get the plans recertified and brought up to current spec. But finding builders and stuff, and one of the partners has got, done 72 facilities. So it's you said it. It's not my niche. It's not something I know, but I'll partner with someone who's got that experience. I'll help raise the funds, and I've brought the land for the deal. So let's see what happens. But in that same breath, I'd love to do a park also. As you said it, there's a massive necessity right now for affordable housing, and there's almost nobody can afford it right now.
I mean, in my area, so Plant City, a double wide in 1997 with the dirt, so the home and land, an acre, that will rent for 1,800 to $2,000. I don't think that's affordable housing in my market, but that's what the rent has gone up to.
Oh
And
my God,
I'm supposed to be in the affordable housing space.
that's what houses
Now,
are going for here in Duval County right now, 1,800 to 2,000 or more.
yeah, it's crazy. Now my area, they will pay a little bit more because of that acre, but we still have some stuff in the true affordable housing, but that's the older stuff. And we have to keep it more as a handyman special, so we don't fix them real pretty in order to really keep the home in the affordable housing space. Because if we go put another 15,000 in it, then we got to charge more to make the money back. So we really stay in the affordable housing space. It works in our area. We're real rural. I mean, we're really similar to Jacksonville. Just the type of area, the county that people like the land, and they want privacy. They value that.
Definitely. Yeah, and Jacksonville's just growing like a weed. Multiple military bases, 2 Navy bases. You go just north of the state line, and we have Kings Bay Naval Station, which is a submarine base. But there's also a lot of finance companies that have moved into the area, and the sports franchises, and it's just it seems like every real estate related website out there is talking about how Jacksonville's the hot market. So now just about every investment company is clamoring to get in here, and just the numbers of everything are going through the roof, including mobile homes. Most of the
That
time,
was
they just want the land. We were talking. They'll take the land, especially if it's in the loop. They will eliminate the mobile home from the land and parcel that out to 2 or 3 lots, depending on how big the original lot was, and then build 2 to 3 shotgun houses on it, and just go up 2 stories on each one of them, so that you can get a big enough home.
that was my area a few years ago. I've seen a lot of similarities, and I hear everyone talking about Jacksonville. You're probably the same as me. Like, stop putting it on these websites. We're not in the top 10. Get out of here. Let me just buy stuff.
Yeah, myself and a lot of people. So you are an author. Tell me about your book here that we'll link for everybody here. How to buy mobilehomes.com.
Yeah. So it is a book. It's a story of how I started as the terrible, terrible tenant and to how I got to today as financial freedom, is a big buzzword. I like to talk about lifestyle freedom to be able to be where I want, when I want, with who I want. I'm actually in Wisconsin as we're recording this. I drove up here to see some friends for their 20-year anniversary, and then I'm in some masterminds. But I get to go to these things because I built the business in that mindset. So it's the story there, and then throughout that story, I talk about mobile homes. I just lay it all out there, what to look for, what you need to, your tie downs, your straps, your peers, moving them. I go into a little bit of that, but I just talk about how to invest in them and what you need to know. So if you're a true action taker, you can read the book and go invest in them. And I say that because a lot of people think they're action takers and they're really not.
Yeah, definitely.
It's scary. It is scary to go do your first one. When I still remember buying that first one, and I was actually my very first mobile home experience. I was too scared, and we're talking a $1,100 difference of where I thought I could buy it at. I gave the lead to someone else. He's like, "Are you sure?" He asked me like 3 or 4 times. He got money in 2 weeks on it. And it was a really good learning lesson. I mean, I never got any money out of it, but it was still a great learning lesson because I got to kind of follow. He told me what he did. And I was just too scared to take the action. So later when it happened, I took the action when I got that next lead.
Your shirt. Now I met you at the Hero event here
Mhm.
with Tim Mai, and I noticed you were wearing those Dayglow yellow shirts and had your Dayglow yellow jacket with you also. Lifestyle REI. Tell me about Lifestyle REI.
I am a yellow highlighter. It is very rare to see me without a bright yellow shirt. This goes into that marketing thing we were talking about earlier, how to find them. I like to stand out. I like a little bit
Mhm.
of attention. And as you just mentioned, you remembered my jacket, you remembered me. And if you're memorable, you spend way less dollars on marketing. So the color works for me. And so the lifestyle ROI, what is it? It is what I mentioned earlier, starting with the end in mind. What do you want the life to look like? Now let's build a business that caters to that instead of let's build a business and then have our life somewhere fit in there. I don't think most people want to work 80, 90 hours a week. Do we have to do that when we're growing at times? Yeah.
Mhm.
And even afterwards, there's still times that things mess up. But this is my teaching and education brand. I want to make it cool again to not work 80 hours. I've learned stuff from Grant Cardone, but I don't really think that everyone wants his lifestyle of
Mm-mm.
always working, always go, 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 go. Wearing this shirt, like we just talking about, the omnipresence, that actually came from him. That's where I got that idea from. Always be wearing it and always be branding, but I don't want every moment of my life to be work. So that is the basis behind my education. I just like to say, hey, find what works for you. For me, it's mobile homes. Like you mentioned storage. I got a lot of friends in the storage facility space. That's a great space. I actually have a little bit of money in it as well. And so it's finding whatever fits your end result.
Most definitely, most definitely. Me, my freedom is being a dad and being able to take kids to Disney on a fairly regular basis.
Awesome.
That's their addiction, and that's something I was blessed with when I was young, is getting to go over there, getting to go over to Cocoa Beach and see the
Mhm.
rockets go up and stuff like that. For me, it was the space shuttle originally that I got to go over there and see several times with school. But and that's part of why I like being here in Florida. Is it's a quick trip down. 2 hour drive south, get to see there. Go 2 hour drive, 2.5 hour drive over, and we're at Disney. So, and I'm trying to find some Airbnb-able properties over there.
Mm.
And now I'm thinking maybe mobile homes that I can still put out on Airbnb when we're not there. And I mean, it's a huge business over there, obviously near the Disney World Metroplex, and rent them out. Have you done that with any of your properties? Have you Airbnb'd them, or are you strictly longer term rental?
I'm strictly long term. And when I say long term, I even tell our residents when they're moving in, I want you to move in and stay for the rest of your life. And then I want your kids to move in. So I mean long term. But when we first got into mobile homes, we were in an Airbnb in northern Georgia, the Blue Ridge area.
Okay.
And we were in an Airbnb, beautiful little tiny thing in the mountains, wood siding, looked like a log cabin. And then my wife was like, "This is a mobile home." I was like, "No, it's not." Went outside, pulled apart the skirting. There's the axles, and they just cut real thin log looking things and put it on inside and out. I thought it was a log cabin. So yeah, you can definitely turn them into Airbnbs.
Definitely, I know people doing that with tents. So calling
Yeah.
it glamping. Real nice big 10-person tent. They'll build like a little patio around the tent in place, and so they're buying a plot of land, and they've got three of them on a property, and then a mobile home on the back corner of the property that was there when they bought it, and they've got someone living there to keep the properties clean, keep the locations clean, and bring out some wood and stuff for the fires and such. But it's like, oh my god, the creativity. And that's a piece, it's an acre of land with a lot of trees and a mobile home in the corner. And what did he do with it?
Brilliant.
Put up some tents.
It's brilliant. And there's people wanting it, like you said. My cousin actually goes glamping. He goes to Disney to go glamping. He
There you
spends
go.
a lot of money because Disney's putting it on. They even have a little bit of
Wow.
glamping. And if Disney's doing it, it works.
Hmm. Most definitely. Most definitely. So what's on the horizon for you?
We are a slower cadence than a lot of investors. And when we buy, I have no desire to ever stop buying. People ask me, well, how many do you buy a week? Especially at that hero event, because there were some big players there. And when people say, how many do you buy a week? I say, whoa, whoa, whoa. You mean a year? My goal is to buy 4 a year. And I believe in the averages. So last year, when I say buy, I mean hold, buy and hold, because we wholesale some if it doesn't fit.
Hmm.
But I only bought 2 last year. So that means this year I'm buying 6. A big year for me is 12. Like that is a big, busy year. We're going to continue buying. We've already bought one. We're working on our second and third right now. And we'll continue that. The speaking and teaching, that it is a business because you have to go out and you have to market. It's the same thing as real estate, really, once you look at what a business is. But doing that in a fun way. So
Hmm.
I love to travel. So I look for cities to go speak at that I have friends in. I want to go see my best friend in Detroit. Oh, is there a REIA there? Can I go speak in Detroit? I
Hmm.
don't know anyone in Omaha, Nebraska. I don't know if I want to go speak in Omaha. So that's really what it is. And part of it for me is I want to pass on the information that I learned from my mentors. And I have some really, really smart mentors. And I think I need to start now while they're still teaching so I can take the years and years it's going to take to get to their level. So then there is not just me and a lot of people to be able to pass it on. You know, I enjoy this talking, teaching. What you do as the podcast host, that's work to me. So I thank you for just putting this on so that I have somewhere just to come have fun, talk about mobile homes, talk about lifestyle. And then I get to be done. You have to go and do the actual hard work between all this. But
Actually, I'm
I'm
blessed. Daniel actually handles that portion for this
perfect.
podcast, which I think he's got a VA now that's starting to handle a lot of that for him. So just
I
buy back
learned,
the time,
I do want to kind of tie this back to real estate.
please.
Whenever the teaching side, it's very similar, as I said from the beginning. When I started evaluating what really worked within my real estate career, I realized I did not ask enough questions and ask for help enough. I think that's always true, no matter how many questions and how much help we ask for. We could always ask for more. And the seasoned people and the people that have been through it, they want to help, especially if you're actually taking action. If you just ask questions every time and never do anything, people get a little annoyed with that. But if you go and say, "Hey, I just tried what you said 3 weeks ago, and this is what happened," a lot of people will help. So I took that when I started this speaking. I said, "What do I want it to look like? How I want it to serve me? I don't want to coach. That doesn't fit me. So that's out of the picture." And I went to all my mentors and said, "What would you do starting over?" So I asked tons and tons of questions, just like I've learned to really do within the real estate world. The deal I mentioned I'm working on right now, I was pretty sure I had a really good solid plan for it. I said, you know what? I should ask questions. So I went and called a few friends. Some friends had some good ideas that were very obvious that I overlooked. I really think people don't understand how important it is just to ask questions. And it builds a friendship as well. Friends like to help and just ask more questions. And the other piece of it for me is taking massive imperfect action, just committing and doing stuff. And then when you screw it up a little bit, you ask for help along the way.
That's one of my favorite sayings: taking massive imperfect action. Is as long as you're taking action, you're going to get results.
Hmm.
It's not always positive results, but it's results as long as you're taking action. If you don't take action, you get nothing. The answer is definitely no. Just like trying to put in offers on places. Should I put in an offer? Well, if you don't, the answer is no.
Yeah.
So
So Pete Fortunato, one of my mentors, he said the biggest insult is no offer at all. That means you think it's worthless. So if you don't give some type of offer, then you think it's worthless. So you got to give what you think it's worth. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And that's the only piece we can also control. We can do our math of how many offers we need to make to be able to buy something, but we can't make anyone sell us a property. We can control how many offers we make, and we all know that we have X amount of offers or no's to get through to get a yes. So it's the old saying, you just look for no's, and
mhm.
then eventually, you're gonna get your yes.
That'll allow me to segue into one of my favorite questions to ask. One of my favorite books, along with Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, is Go for No, which
Mm,
it's all about a gentleman who was a great salesman, but his goal was to get two yeses. And if he got on the phone early that day, and he was with Xerox at this point, the author, and if he got his two yeses really quick and early in the day, he'd stop and move on and go do whatever. And instead, he finally figured out just set for a target number of no's and keep
mm,
going until you've gotten there, because you might get six yeses in one day. And it kind of hit him when he started having massive success, because he kept going, just trying to get to a certain number of no's, as opposed to limiting himself to just those two yeses. And he might still have three-quarters of a day, or have his goal was five for the week. Well, if you have
hmm.
two really good days in the beginning of the week, what about the other 3 days of the week? You throwing that away? And he was. So what are your favorite books or book?
Oh,
What's the number one that you recommend to everybody, not counting your own book, of course?
this is literally one of the hardest questions to ask me because it's almost always the very last book I read. And I can read the same exact topic and it's the last book I read. And I really think it's because I'm at a better place to understand that book.
Hmm.
Right now in life, I read a lot more mindset. I'm very big into the mindset. I'm a very big Hal Elrod fan. So I've been doing the Miracle Morning for about 5 years. I think one of my bigger books right now for this year is The Inner Work. It's by the yoga couple. And it took a lot of mindset books. I think they're about my age. Mid 30s is what they look like from following them on social media. But I think they learned from a lot of the same people I learned from, and then they put all their learnings into a book in a different style. So I really enjoyed that. I thought it was pretty easy to grasp. I'm also a big Joe Dispenza fan, and that can hurt people if they're not going to dive deep into that world. So right now, that is my book to give away in December. So every year, I pick my favorite book that I think is best for all my family and friends, and I buy 20, 30 copies, and I give everyone one.
You'll have to. There's a lot of books that come up under the Inner Work title, so you'll
Okay,
have to.
I'll have to send you the link.
Yeah, post us a link to that within the Hive Mind, and we'll add that to this for sure. So, are there any podcasts you listen to on a regular basis?
Hal Elrod is probably my most committed. I have a long list of podcasts on there, but he's the one I don't miss. I might get 2 or 3 behind, but I could be having a bad day, or not bad day, but low energy day or something. I'm like, oh, Hal always brings me up. So I'm always all right. Let me just stop what I'm doing, go for a walk, listen to Hal. If you've never listened to any of his stuff, I just really highly recommend it. He's a great guy, great story. I think he's out of that world of big speakers and that mindset. I think he's the most genuine. I'm a big Tony Robbins fan, but Tony Robbins is a businessman.
Mm-hmm.
He's a businessman. Hal Elrod is a genuine, I want to help guy.
I will have to check him out for sure. One of my favorites is Brian Ponciano. Very focused on mindset. He does a regular meeting on Mondays as part of a couple of the groups he's part of. But he's out of California. It's either California or Arizona. I can't recall which. But he's really good friends with T. Harbecker's old business partner. And very focused on the mindset end of things. And I know Tuesdays they have a regular group that meets, and it's all focused around Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. But looking at going at it more from the study guide side of things. So very
I'm gonna have
much
to check that out.
mindset focused. Yeah,
I'm definitely gonna check it because that's a book I've read a
recommend.
few times. That's a highly recommended book by me to people.
Oh, I love that book.
Yeah,
that is one of my favorites. It's one of the ones that really changed my life for certain. So,
yep,
so you sit there and argue you can't change your mindset, and someone's like, read this book. And I I didn't read it, being honest. I got the audio book, and I'd listened to it 3 times before I saw this person again. And I could not thank this person enough for presenting that option, that suggestion. I mean, that's all we can do. We can suggest a book, but it's up to you if you're going to get the results.
Ordering off the left side of the menu, from that book, that was my challenge. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. I made that my goal because I would feel guilty spending money, and I was like, I have the money to spend. I've seen a lot of my mentors, like, they become very, very successful and they never start spending their money. And then some of them have passed away with, we're talking double digits a month coming in, and they go to Steak and Shake and spend $5 for them and their wife to eat. And it's like, you have this money, like, enjoy it. Like, you work for it.
Yeah.
So it's, we have to sacrifice on our way up, and it's retraining. I mean, it was a struggle sometimes for me to cover up that right side. And I'm not saying I don't struggle still today, but I work on it. I'm like, all right, you're going to spend it.
Definitely. I did not think we would be talking mindset on this, but I mean, it fits 100%. I mean, anything real estate investment wise.
And I can tie that back here. I'll tie it back to the mobile homes, because you're right. We haven't talked a ton about mobile homes. Investing in mobile homes is really a mindset, because most people won't buy them because they think they're dangerous. They think they depreciate. They think they're hurricane magnets, tornado magnets, whatever you want to talk about. You can't buy and rent something like this, can you? Yes. I bought that. I bought it on owner financing, $1,000 down, $100 a month. I put 12 grand into it, and it's rented for $730 a month, and they've been there for 3 years. Brilliant tenants. You can do it. You have to go get educated and get past the mindset that these are terrible investments. Are they riskier? Yes. But if you educate yourself just like anything, it can work. I've
Now,
never
is that something
bought
you're
a
teaching?
stick-built. I'm sorry?
Is that something you're teaching? I apologize.
Yes, it is.
Talking about you like teaching and speaking. Tell us about your teaching.
Yeah, so I do every year. I do a 2-day. Well, actually, last year was a 1-day class. This year it's going to be a 2-day class on mobile homes, cashing in on mobile homes. Actually, my buddy that lives there in Jacksonville, I was talking about, Mark Bracy. I bring him in to help teach the fix and flip because that's what he does. He knows how to do it. And I said, hey, if I just gave you a few hours to speak, do you want to come speak? He said, yeah. I teach on how to buy and rent. That's my main business. His main business is buy and fix and flip. So he teaches that part. And it's just information. It's what we both are doing. And then I do have the recordings available for people that can't make it to the live class. But we go through at the very beginning, busting these myths because you have to set the mind right to be able to accept all the what's the outside world craziness. Like, how can you fix something like that? It's a terrible, I hear all of it. And some people, because I follow up with everyone, one of the guys afterwards, he said, no, I realized mobile homes weren't for me. And that was great. That was way cheaper than buying a mobile home and learning it wasn't for him and then getting it in way over his head. So I think it's just finding your niche. My niche is mobile homes. I got educated. I don't know how to do a wood frame house. I've never owned one. Those are scarier to me than mobile homes because I'm not educated on them.
Definitely. You have anything else you'd like to bring up to our listeners or those watching on YouTube eventually?
Just take the massive imperfect action we talked about. Ask for help. If I can help in any way, I know you've put up some of my social medias. I'm way better through messaging. Send me a message, and then when I'm sitting around something, I go through them and I try to help people as I can. I put out free education quotes. I'm always going to education myself. I'm an education junkie. And then I just take it and then I just kind of repurpose it out. So if nothing else, follow it for that.
There you go. Outstanding. Well, I appreciate your time today. I know Daniel will as well, and all of our regular listeners and viewers on YouTube. We're definitely glad to have you here. Once again, I will link howtobuymobilehomes.com. That's where you can get Adrian's book. It's also available, hard copy, Kindle copy. Are you planning on doing an Audible version of that at some point in time?
Yeah, it'll be later this year. It was work to get here. I'm kind of resting. So I hired a coach. I believe in coaching because I think I have 2 right now I'm paying. And because this one just ended, so I had 3 at a time. But that just finished, and it is a lot of work behind the scenes. So I'm kind of taking a break, and then I'll go back and do the audio later this year.
Excellent. Well, thank you again, everybody. Once again, if you're not already members, join the HiveMind CRM. It's a free group on Facebook. It's a mastermind. It's a community. Everybody's there to help. We give a lot of great content like this and a lot of people that you can reach out to and ask at any point in time. There's always someone who seems to know one or more of the niches if you have questions. So, but as always, the number one thing, take massive action. Massive and perfect action. There is no such thing as perfect action. It's if it worked, okay, well, I guess you did it perfectly that time. So
the show is sponsored by The List Guys. Do you need more leads in your local or virtual market? 1 in 10 small businesses don't invest in any kind of marketing. The List Guys have over 35 plus list types to choose from, and you can mix and match any list or criteria. We also use the skip trace list and provide up to 7 numbers and email addresses. Every list you purchase will be scrubbed against previous purchases. The List Guys are here to save you time. Contact the List Guys today at www.1listguys.com. That's www.1listguys.com.
Thanks again, and I'll go ahead and end the recording now, and y'all have a great day.